What's going on, 5-9 Gaming crew? Letho went up here, and guys, welcome back to another 5-9 Gaming Weekly Wrap, the series where we basically recap the last week's worth of gaming news, and I share some of that, and we talk about it. But before we begin, I have three awesome pieces of story, one of which might be a little crazy, but the other one is extremely hype, at least for me. Before we begin, let's go and talk about the games that are releasing this week. Now, we have some games here. We have Chernobylite dropping on September 7th. We have Encased dropping September 7th as well. Fist Forged and Shadow Torch also September 7th. Sonic Colors Ultimate September 7th. The Artful Escape September 9th. Life is Strange True Colors, I'm really excited for that one. That is September 10th. We have Lost in Random September 10th. NBA 2K22 September 10th. Tales of Arise September 10th. And then WarioWare Get It Together September 10th. And again, I got these from Game Informer. There's a bigger listing, so go check that out for more titles releasing. But now, let's jump into the first one, which I'm extremely hyped to talk about. The PlayStation Showcase 2021 event is officially happening. It was officially announced via PlayStation Twitter, but I'm getting this from the actual PlayStation blog. Now I want to read specifically what was mentioned on the PlayStation blog. So ready? It goes as follows. You've been awfully patient, and we thank you for that. And now we're looking forward to showing you what we've been working on. Tune in Thursday, September 9th at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern for a look into the future of PS5. The showcase will weigh in at around 40 minutes and include updates from PlayStation Studios and some of the industry's most imaginative developers for games releasing not just this holiday, but also beyond. And stick around after the showcase presentation to get more updates from some of the studio teams featured in the showcase. Importantly, they put a note that says, PlayStation's next generation of VR will not be making an appearance this time, but there still will be plenty of PS5 games from developers large and small. That is extremely exciting for me. Well, I'm excited because I would have wanted to see some cool PSVR games, sure. I'm more excited because this seems like it's really focused on their bigger hits, right? Their bigger games. And that's what the last showcase did. It was insane. I remember it hit, what, millions? How many? Oh, God, it was so crazy. I think it was like the most watched, I don't know if the most watched, like launch, like showcasing YouTube video. I remember it was breaking records left and right. It was huge the last time we had this last year. I'm excited for what we're going to see this year. So I want to get your guys' thoughts, your concerns. What do we want to see? Things that I haven't seen that I'm dying to hear more about, which I feel like we'll get that from this because this is the big one. We already know about Horizon. That's kind of done, right? We already had our Ratchet and Clank. That's kind of done, right? We had our Spider-Man Miles Morales. That's kind of done. Would be cool now to get some more updates. Big one, God of War. Who does not want to see a God of War update? I'm extremely excited. I really hope we get something. I'm not even like caring for a release date. If it doesn't drop next year, I just want to see more in this game. I want this game to be just like the last one. I want it to be so good that I just, would love to see an update. Last time we got more of like a title thing, a little teaser. I want to see, I don't know if I want to see gameplay or I just want to see some footage of the game, some type of cinematic scene, some cutscene, something. God of War, I would love to see. Final Fantasy 16, I'm dying to get an update on that game. I want to see more about it. So I think at this point now it comes to, okay, besides that, what else do you want to see? I have written down here, we know Ben Studio, the team behind Days Gone, they were working on something brand new. I'm curious what that is. And you guys know there was already rumors circulating for how long now for Silent Hill. On top of Silent Hill, that was the big rumor, right? That we might be getting something potentially. There was also the, I guess you could say, announcement that then got kind of hidden of Bluepoint, that acquisition of Bluepoint. Bluepoint was reportedly rumored working on either a Silent Hill or a Metal Gear remake. So the question is, will we get something of those two and we will finally see, are they going to finally talk about the Bluepoint acquisition? Because it kind of just went like hidden all of a sudden. Because we know what's happening. It was the PlayStation, I think it was the Japan official Twitter that tweeted out, I think it was the wrong image and it was the Bluepoint image, right? The question is, what's going on with that? So what can we expect to see? And again, I have stuff like, I would love to see a new Resistance game. I would die to see an update or something from Jack and Daxter. We already know Naughty Dog is working on a multiplayer game, right? More potentially it's going to be at the Factions, a multiplayer mode from The Last of Us. So that's kind of what we know is on like the scope of what's going to come out. The question is anybody going to work on Jack and Daxter? Maybe that's what Ben Studios is working on. Who knows? Even a Sly Cooper game, who knows? But drop it down below. I want to hear you guys' thoughts about it. I'm extremely hyped for this, and make sure you guys are following our Twitch because we're going to be covering that, and you're going to see some what's it called? Also videos on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well. But guys, let's jump into story number 2. This is the one where it's a little bit iffy, but it's kind of like trending all over the place. Horizon Forbidden West pre-orders are officially in. That's pretty hype. However, what's not hype is the disastrous upgrade option that's available. Now we're gonna go ahead and I'm getting a lot of this information, especially the pre-order stuff from IGN, and then a lot of this is also over on Twitter from IGN. Let's talk about the pre-order options. Now this is gonna be in US currency, so I'm gonna go ahead and just go down this listing here. You can pre-order Horizon Forbidden West, the launch edition for PS4 or PS5 starting at 60. Again, it goes up to 70. Then you can do the special edition for PS4 or PS5, again, starts at 70, goes up to 80. Then there's the digital deluxe edition, that's 80. And then there's going to be the collector's edition, which is 200. And then the Regala edition, that's 260. Now, I can tell you guys right now, if I'm not mistaken, I think a lot of the physical based ones are the pre-orders I think I've saw, even the launch, the special edition, definitely the Regala. Not sure yet about the collectors, but a lot of them were sold out. And again, I don't know which, if it was for the PS4 or for the PS5, but they sold out like hotcakes. So definitely, if you're thinking about pre-ordering, get on it. Keep in mind, this is where everything gets kind of crazy. IGN tweets out the following: Horizon Forbidden West won't offer a free upgrade from PS4 to PS5 on its standard or special editions, and you can't pay to upgrade a standard edition to one that does include the PS5 version. They make a note of saying, should you want to obtain both versions, you must purchase the digital deluxe edition, the collector's edition, or the Regala editions. Now, we just looked at those prices. You're looking at $80 or higher. Continuing, one thing that a lot of people were pointing out to is that apparently a feature like photo mode unlocks, which is mentioned on the official PlayStation Store, is apparently only showing as an available option on the premium options of the games. Is that basically just a photo mode? Is that just extra to the photo mode? Is it going to be like a paywall for something like photo mode? Again, that just looks bad. And so there's a part here where I'm going to give my concerns. It's no surprise. People are still having a hard time getting their hands on a PlayStation 5. It's facts. We all know this. So the fact that there's no upgrade option for anybody who has unfortunately just has the PS4 and eventually do want to get the PS5, they'd have to either rebuy the game or buy the digital deluxe edition. That sucks, and that's basically forcing people to buy the premium options. Or again, it's making people think they just wait until they get their PS5. Like, this is, I think it's a bad move, and I think a lot of you guys would probably agree with me. I don't see why they couldn't just do an upgrade path, especially because the big thing with this game, and this is where a lot of people are kind of bringing up past interviews with Jim Ryan, was that it was mentioned from Jim Ryan in a past interview where a lot of people are bringing it up, and there's some tricky wording and whatnot. But basically, Jim Ryan was mentioning a bunch of games, and he included Horizon Forbidden West, talking about a bunch of titles that would receive upgrade paths, either free or, to some degree, some options for payment. The point is that we now see there is no specific, $10 up extra from the PS4 edition to the PS5. You guys just straight up buy, the digital deluxe or higher to get, to get the options that you're looking for. And so a lot of people are mad because looking back at some of those interviews, people were kind of pointing out that, hey, Jim Ryan was kind of tricky, and there was some tricky wording, talking about only launch day games and saying that basically Horizon Forbidden West doesn't count towards that. So now a lot of people are upset because this is a terrible option. And I actually agree. Terrible decision. Again, like I said, people are not able to get their hands on a PS5, and I think we're still in that transitional year, right? 2022, I think it's still a transitional year for people to get from PS4 to PS5. Not to mention there's a chip shortage, right? Not to mention that there's COVID. Like, there's still, it's not, a decision like this should not be happening right now. And I really hope they change it up. They switch up their decision making, because I do think this is a bad move and definitely anti-consumer, and it should just be something that they overdo, or not overdo, but they change it, right? And they overturn it. That's what I was trying to say. That they overturn it and make the decision to add some form of upgrade, because that's not cool, especially at a time like right now when it's, again, just really hard to get a PS5. But again, give me your thoughts on this article. A lot of people have been talking about that. Give me just your overall thoughts. Now, the final one that I have, which is number 3, which I'm actually pretty excited about this one. I hope it's true. Now, I prefer a little bit different, but we'll talk about it. Number 3 is Game Boy and Game Boy Color are maybe heading to Nintendo Switch Online. This is coming from Eurogamer, from Tom Phillips. Now, again, take this with a grain of salt. And I like to tell you guys, I don't want to mention rumor type stuff because it's never concrete. But whenever you see a lot of big names kind of confirming it, right, and like co-collaborating on stuff like this, there's a good chance it's going to happen. And let's be real, Nintendo Switch Online is definitely due for another service to add to their emulations, I guess you could say, whatever. They have the NES and the SNES. I think it would be time to see what comes next. But let's go ahead and read from this article. Eurogamer has sources confirming that Nintendo will be adding Game Boy and Game Boy Color titles via Nintendo Switch Online. Even sources from Nintendo Life are also co-confirming this. This month is the 3rd anniversary of the Nintendo Switch Online service, which originally launched in September of 2018, offering a selection of NES, which then grew to SNES. Now, a data mine back in 2019 of the NES Nintendo Switch Online app had already tipped the addition of SNES at the time, but also they're kind of going back and re-saying that, hey, it wasn't just SNES. There's apparently a couple other emulators that got mentioned in those data leaks. But again, we'll have to wait for Nintendo to give the official announcement. But again, a lot of people are coming together and saying, yeah, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy should be the next in the lineup. So I guess now my concerns and thoughts for this is, what about GBA, right? What about Game Boy Advance? Because that's where a lot of games it's the library of GBA was ridiculous, right? And I think that's where a lot of big classics come from. Don't get me wrong, Game Boy Color has a ton too. I grew up with Game Boy Color, but I'm thinking about stuff like Metroid Dread, and I'm thinking about the fact that there's no way anybody who is brand new getting into gaming, they got a Switch, they're looking at the Metroid games, and they're like, oh, this looks really cool. Metroid Dread is getting people's interest, and they're like, I want to play the past games so I can get ready. And there's no option on Nintendo Switch to do that. Now, again, of course, there's some games, right? There's NES and SNES options to play some of those, but there's still ones like Metroid Fusion. How are you going to play that? You got a Game Boy Advance sitting at home, you know what I mean? For this next generation of gamers, this would be the perfect opportunity for a GBA emulator service to be put on Nintendo Switch Online. So that's where I'm just like, that's a little weird, but whatever. Who knows? For all we know, that they may be adding GBA to it as well. Honestly, who knows? But let's jump down here. So other, I guess, than the GBA stuff, what games would you guys want to see from Game Boy or Game Boy Color? Now, speaking to those of you that grew up with the Game Boy, again, Game Boy or Game Boy Color, I grew up with Game Boy Color. And the big ones that obviously I remember the most is obviously the classic Pokemon, right? I'm looking at red, yellow, blue. Now, the thing is, I wrote down here, like, it'd be cool to see those games with some online support. But when I'm thinking about it, probably not going to see that just because they can make money off of that, right? They can do remakes again or something. That's an easy W for, not just Nintendo, but Game Freak and everything. It makes the most sense. They would never do that, I think. But who knows? I could be wrong. But again, it would just make the most sense if they were to just keep that as just something that they can just keep remaking and whatnot. But that's an option, right? I could see also them doing stuff like Donkey Kong Country, Wario Land. Now, I know there's some Zelda titles like people are talking about that we could maybe see from the Game Boy Color and Game Boy, but I don't know if we'll see some of them because, again, that's kind of similar to like Pokemon. A lot of those games, you know how Nintendo works, they'll just remake them, right? Or remaster them and make more money that way because they totally could. And so for like $60 and we'd all buy it, it's pretty much facts. But then there's some other games where people are mentioning like, hey, there was the Metal Gear game that came out on Game Boy Color. There was Rayman, right? There was some Harry Potter stuff. But you got to keep in mind too, there's going to be licensing issues with that. I mean, they'd have to work out some type of deal, with those owners to be able to have those games on the Nintendo Switch Online service. So let me know your list down below. What games would you want to see from Game Boy and Game Boy Color? But guys, that's pretty much it. That's my weekly wrap for this week. Now, just again, of the games that I mentioned earlier that are coming out next week, I want you to keep your eyes out for these 3 specifically, just because these are 3 games that I know are going to be really good, and we highly recommend them here. Fist Forge and Shadow Torch. Again, that's PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, September 7th. Life is Strange True Colors, that's literally multi-plat. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, Stadia, PC, again, September 10th. And then Wario Get It Together Switch, September 10th. Keep an eye out for those. And guys, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you guys haven't already, go ahead, subscribe to the 59 Gaming Direct channel. Make sure you guys are following our Twitch where we go live and we react to the PlayStation Showcase event. Again, I'm Letha1Up, and thank you guys for watching. Peace.